do it right this time.
Ow, 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 ow!
Oh, my goodness, Theo.
Ow, I'm in so much pain. My tooth, the pain. Please, please, you gotta help me.
Oh, no, not a toothache. Not on such a beautiful, sunshiny day.
Just look at that sunshine. Are you seeing that? But ow, my tooth is hurting. My tooth, it hurts.
Oh, no, just look at that sunshine. Are you seeing that? Oh, my, you sound like you are in pain.
I am in pain. My tooth, it hurts so bad.
Your tooth hurts, huh? Well, let me have a look. Oh, my. You do. Wow. Ooh. I wonder, is this the one?
Oh,
I think I
have a winner. It hurts so bad.
Well, yes, as black and gummy as it is, I'm not surprised.
I've never felt so much pain. This is the worst pain ever. My leg and now my tooth.
Oh, no. Come now. It's not all that bad.
Yes, it is. I'm telling you, it is.
No way. Not with that glorious sunshine God has given us. I mean, did you see that sunshine?
It is pretty nice. I agree.
You bet it is. And I bet if you thank God about it, God gave you a few more things to be joyful for.
Well, my dad took the day off to bring me here.
Oh, how nice.
And he's taking me for ice cream later.
He is not. Not after I'm through with you.
What?
Oh, I'm just kidding.
Oh, thank goodness.
No, thank God, because even in the midst of our worst pain, God gives us joy.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel better already just knowing that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Just remember to give your father the same speech about having joy when he sees my bill.
Uh-oh, he's not going to like that.
Okay, boys and girls, we're going into a story. We're going to talk about Job today. And even when Job hurt, we are to have joy. And this is going to be about Job.
Job is a righteous man. He does what's right. And God has blessed him. He has 10 kids, 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 pair of oxen, donkeys, servants, you name it, he's got it. He loves God and follows God's rules. Then suddenly we find ourselves at a meeting called by God.
In heaven?
It doesn't say, maybe. But guess who shows up at the meeting?
Abraham Lincoln?
Nope, Satan. And God says, look at Job. He respects me and does what's right. And Satan says, he only respects you because you've blessed him. Take away his stuff and he'll curse you to your face. Scene change, back to Job. A bunch of bandits come and take all the oxen and donkeys. Then fire comes from the sky and burns up all the sheep. Then more bandits come and take the camels. Then a windstorm knocks down the house where his kids were, and they all die.
Oh no, what did he do?
Well, he was really sad. He ripped his robes and sat down in the dirt. But then he said, the Lord gave me all that stuff, and he can take it away. Blessed is the name of the Lord.
That's quite an impressive response. Yes, it is. Job was going to respect God no matter what.
Scene change. Another meeting in heaven or wherever. Satan says, okay, but he's still healthy. Take away his good health and then he'll curse you to your face. So back to Job, who suddenly finds himself covered with sores from head to foot. They really hurt, and Job is miserable. Job's wife comes by, takes one look at him, and says, you should just curse God and die.
That's not a very nice thing to say to your husband. Curse God and die?
No, it wasn't. It looks like the accuser is right, that we only respect God when he gives us what we want. But Job says his wife is speaking foolishly, and he won't curse God. Then 3 friends show up who've heard about Job's terrible state. They sit quietly with him for 7 days. Then they start talking. Obviously, these terrible things have happened to you because you've done something terrible. Tell us what you've done. But Job says, I've been good. I've been following God. And the friends get a little cranky and say, bad things are punishment. If you want your stuff back, you need to stop being bad. And Job gets a little cranky and says, I told you I've been good. I don't know why God let these bad things happen to me. And Job's friends get even more cranky and say, not only have you done terrible things, but you are proud and won't admit it. You deserve all these terrible things. And Job gets mad and says, you are terrible friends saying I've done terrible things. God, why don't you defend me? It's not fair. And as they're arguing, a whirlwind shows up.
What's a whirlwind?
It's like a small tornado.
Oh, interesting.
And a voice comes out of the whirlwind, and the voice belongs to...
Abraham Lincoln,
What's the thing with Abraham Lincoln today?
best president we ever had.
Sorry for the interruption.
The voice belongs to God.
Does he explain why everything bad happened? About the meetings in heaven? Or wherever?
No, he doesn't. He says, who's asking questions about whether I'm doing the right thing or not? Like I have no wisdom? Like I don't know about justice? I created the world. I control the seas. I rule over all of creation with wisdom that you cannot always understand. Do you know everything that's going on right now to say that I'm being unfair?
Oh, what did Job do?
He put his hand over his mouth. He knew he had spoken of things he did not understand. He realized that God was just and wise and could be trusted, even when bad things happened. Then God turned to the so-called friends and told them they were wrong. Terrible things happening to Job did not mean Job had done terrible things. There's more going on than we can see. And God restored Job's health and gave him more kids and more camels, sheep, oxen, and donkeys than he'd ever had before. And Job kept on trusting God and being faithful to him, even when life was hard to understand.
View today's verse.
Whoops.
Job
Sorry about that, guys.
121b.
Okay, so now I want to introduce you all to an old friend of mine. Oh, are we back on?
Yep, we are.
Okay, sorry guys. Okay, so I want to introduce you to an old friend of mine. This is Mrs. Potato Head. She might be a friend of yours too. Some of you might have a Mr. Potato Head or a Ms. Potato Head at your house. It's been one of the most popular children toys for years. So let's say that Mrs. Potato Head goes for a walk and all of a sudden a strong wind comes along and blows her hat off.
Oh my.
And not only does it blow her hat off, oh, that wind is so strong it blows her hair.
It just blew it away. Miss Cheryl, crack it up.
I got tickled, sorry. And then, okay, and then Miss Potato Head gets robbed and someone comes along and takes her shoes.
Oh no. How's Miss Potato Head gonna walk?
Oh,
She
my
has no
goodness.
feet and her head is gonna get so
Oh,
cold
yes,
because she
she
has no
will.
hair and no hat.
And now is she still Mrs. Potato Head though, even though all these things have happened to her?
She's losing it. Her glasses are falling down because she don't have any hair or hat to keep them up.
So she is still Mrs. Potato Head, right?
She still looks like a potato, and she still has eyes and feet, or no feet, but hands and a mouth, so she can still hear and smell and eat and feel with her hands and
Okay.
see.
Yeah, true. Okay, so let's say she has a really, really bad day, and it's no fault of her own, but she loses her glasses.
Oh no, now she can't see where she's walking. Oh no. Well,
And
she's not
she
really walking, is she rolling?
She loses an arm.
Oh, now how's she gonna eat? Well,
Oh,
her
no.
arm thought it was gonna get lost.
And she loses.
Her arm just became really loose.
Okay. Okay. And let's say she loses her nose. Oh,
She
oh, yeah,
can't
she
smell.
can smell.
And her arms are all crazy now. Oh no.
But is she still Mrs. Potato Head?
Well, she can still see and she can
Somewhat.
still hear
She
and
lost
she
her
can
glasses.
kind of roll, even though she can't see where she's going.
But she's still Mrs. Potato Head. That's who she is. Um, so you can do whatever you like to Mrs. Potato Head.
She can lose an ear.
And she's still Mrs. Potato Head. And you can't change that.
Oh,
So the next time you're hurting or sick, or just remember our old friend here.
oh
No
her
matter-
eyes are upside down. Oh no.
Remember that whatever happens to her, she's still Mrs. Potato Head. And no matter what happens to you, or no matter how sick or how you hurt, you're still God's child. Nothing can change that. And if you hold on to God, nothing can take away your joy. And I hope none of you have a bad day like Mrs. Potato Head. Even if you do, no one can ever take the joy of God from you.
Look, she's even giving God a thumbs up because she's still Miss Potato Head.
Right. And just like Job, he went through all those different things, but he still knew that God was who he worshiped and that God took care of him. So in the Bible, I want to read Philippians 4:4. Remember, we talk about our Bible and we have a Bible verse, and it says, "Rejoice in the Lord always." And sometimes that's really hard to do when so many things happen in life. And I will say it again, rejoice. So we have to remember that. That's one of God's promises, that he always takes care of us and he's always there for us. Now we're going to go to the story of Job and just talk about it a little bit more. Job lived in the land of Uz, and he was very, very rich. And he had everything in life. I mean, he had a good home, he had lots of children, he was a good Christian man, and he worshiped God and he praised God. He had lots of animals. He lives on a farm, and he had lots of sheep and camels and oxen and donkeys. And he had people that worked for him. He had hired hands and servants. And Job would pray for his family, and he would ask God for his forgiveness on a regular basis. And mean old Satan didn't like this. Satan complained to God, and he said, "Why do you always take care of Job and protect him? And you never let anything happen to him. That's why he loves you so much. Take away all his stuff, and I bet he won't love you anymore." That's mean old Satan. And so God said, "Well, you know, okay, Satan. I guess I will let you test Job, but do what you will. But however, do not touch a single hair on his head." So one day a messenger arrived at Job's house, and they said, "The enemies have raided your land. They've stolen all your oxen, and they've taken all your sheep and all your animals, and they've taken all your farm hands, and they've taken away all your crops." And while he was still speaking, another guy shows up, and he says, "Fire has consumed your land and sheep and what was left of the animals that tried to get away." And yet again, a third person came, and he said that all of your farm animals are gone. And Job was thinking, "Oh no, what else can happen?" He's getting upset there, and he's hollering out, "Oh no." And then someone else arrived and said, "Your sons and daughters are having a party." And when the house collapsed and killed them all. Now, can you imagine? We all live and have homes and our families have jobs, but there are some people in the world that have lost everything. And this poor man, he lost his children, he lost his all his farm, he lost his crops, he lost his animals. So he tore his clothes and he let out a loud cry. he shaved his head, and it fell to the floor before God. And he said, I came into this world completely naked, and I have stripped of everything when I die, and I will be stripped of everything when I die. The Lord has given it to me, and now he has taken it away. Job never did get really mad at God, and Satan complained to God. After all that Satan caused to happen to Job, he was still mad because Job was not being angry at God and saying ugly things to God and saying, why did you let this happen to me? And so Satan wanted to do something else. Satan decided that he would make him sick, and that he would put all those boils and all that skin disease would come all over his body. And then his wife came along and she said, oh, Job, you should be mad enough to curse God and to say bad things about God and die. But Job did not. And then he had 3 friends, and his 3 friends came along, and they were going to comfort and moan with him because, see, there's Job sitting there with so many sores on his body. Lots of bad things happened to Job. He had a really hard life when the devil came in there and wanted to make things bad for him because, see, the devil was tempting him and was wanting him to get mad at God. And so the friends sat with him for about 7 days, and they were just kind of showing their sadness for him, and they were just trying to be supportive to him. And he was suffering such a great amount. He was in so much pain, and he sort of started saying, maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe God's trying to punish me for something. But he realized that he hadn't really done anything, that he was on God's side. And Job was being tested. And finally, Job said, God knows the truth. I haven't committed any sin that is even close to what this kind of punishment is giving me. Then Job cried out in anguish to God again, saying that he was very upset with his life and he didn't know what God was wanting from him. And then one day, another friend came along, and he told Job that his children maybe had caused this to happen to him. But Job didn't really think so. And the friend said, well, you should bargain with God and try to make a plea with God and tell God you'll do this for that. But he kept sitting there, and he kept waiting, and he kept waiting, and he kept thinking, and he cried out to God, and he decided he did not want to make deals with God, but he wanted to trust him because he knew that God cared for him, and he knew that God was understanding and that God was just, and God is all powerful. And Job and his friends were pondering what he said. Anyway, one day God finally said that this is enough, and that he could tell that Job was still trusted in him and that he was still faithful to him and everything. God knew that he understood that he was there for him. And Job felt very humbled, and he decided that who was he to question God? And Job said, I take back anything I've ever said. I'm very sorry, and I will sit here in these ashes to show you how sorry I am. And after Job responded to God with humility and repentance, God turned to Job's friends and said, I'm angry with you because you have not spoken truthfully about me to Job. Now go and make a sacrifice to me and ask for forgiveness." Then God turned back to Job. "While your friends are suffering their sacrifice for me, pray for them." So the friends offered a sacrifice, and Job prayed for them. Then God blessed Job with twice as much as he had before. He gave him more animals, he gave him more oxen, more sheep, more donkeys. He had 3 more daughters, he had 7 more sons, and he lived to be 140 years old. So even though Job started out with a good life and he had everything and he was thankful and he was good and he was a good servant of God's, Satan came along and was jealous and envious of what Job had, and he wanted to take it from him. So some people have been mistaken, the idea when things go bad that it's God's fault. And it's easy for us to say that. Why is God letting this happen to me? We're good, and why is this happening? And we want to blame God for our problems instead of learning to lean on God like Job did. And God created the world we live in, but he was not the one who brought suffering and pain to this world. We did that. When Adam and Eve sinned in the Garden of Eden, they're the ones that brought the pain and suffering into God's perfect creation. God could have abandoned us and he could have wiped us off the face of the earth, but he loved us so much that he stuck by us and he sent his son Jesus to pay for our sins, all our mistakes. And when we place our trust in Jesus, he gives us his Holy Spirit. So when you're in pain, lean on God. And when you're sick, call on God's name. And when things are bad, trust in God, and he will be there for you wherever you are, and he will give you joy.
I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart to stay. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart, down in my heart. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart.
What else you got?
I've got the peace that passes understanding down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. I've got the peace that passes understanding down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart to stay. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart, down in my heart. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. I've got the wonderful love of my blessed Redeemer way down in the depths of my heart. Where? Down in the depths of my heart. Where? Down in the depths of my heart. I've got the wonderful love of my blessed Redeemer way down in the depths of my heart. Where? Down in the depths of my heart to stay. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart, down in my heart. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart.
Alrighty, guys. So today we talked about joy and we talked about pain. It's okay to be. Today we talked about having joy when we are hurt or sick. Pain is a part of life, but no matter how bad things get, there's one thing the world can take from us: the joy that we receive from God. And knowing God and what he gives us every day. He gives us a house and he gives us food and he gives us a school to go to. He gives us a church to come to. He gives us Sunday school. God's joy is the one thing the world can never take from us. So when you're hurting, or maybe you stump your toe or you cut your finger or you fall out of your bed, just remember that even though you're hurting, God is always there. And all you have to do is turn to him in prayer and he's always there for us.